everyone, welcome back to the channel. Now, a few videos back I talked about diabetes and explained how it all works. And a large part of understanding how diabetes works is about understanding how your body controls blood sugar levels. And while I did touch on that in those videos, I only really explained the basics of insulin, and there is so much more to the story. So I had a bit of a think and decided that today I'm going to make a video fully dedicated to how your body controls blood sugar levels, because it's something you really need to understand if you want to learn how to be your healthiest self, and if you really want to play the long game when it comes to health. So sit back, relax, and let me do all the talking. Now, by now, hopefully we all understand the importance of blood sugar and glucose in general. Glucose is our greatest energy source. We use it for everything from movement to thinking to being able to digest food in the first place. So it makes sense that the body has a system set up to keep everything in balance. Now, there are two main characters in the story of how we control blood sugar levels, and they are insulin, which you have heard a lot about, and glucagon. Now, both of these are hormones that your pancreas makes, and they pretty much act in opposite ways to each other. Now, since insulin is a familiar name, we will start with that. When you eat your food, your body breaks it down into the smallest units possible, and for carbohydrates, that tends to be glucose. Now, what this means is that your blood sugar levels will go up, and in a normal situation, your pancreas will release insulin. Insulin then helps glucose enter cells where it can go on to do its job and give you energy. Now, there are a few things that insulin leads to. The first is called glucose oxidation, which is a fancy term for essentially breaking down glucose so that we can use it for energy. Next is that it encourages your body to make something called glycogen. Now, glycogen is the storage form of glucose. A number of glucose units are packaged together and kept away for storage in case you're in a situation where you need a burst of energy and you don't have any glucose lying around to use. Now, once glycogen is made, it gets stored in the liver and also in your muscles. The other thing that insulin does is trigger your body to start making fatty acids. Now, you might be thinking, what does glucose have to do with fat? Well, glucose is actually used in the process of making fat, and since insulin is trying to reduce your blood sugar, one of the ways it can use up extra glucose is to just make some fat. And that is why if you have too much sugar in your diet, it can lead to weight gain. Now, does this mean that you need to remove carbohydrates from your diet completely? Watch next week's video to get the answer to that question. So that's insulin summed up. But if you want a quick and easy way to remember what it does, just think about the goal that insulin has. Insulin is there to reduce blood glucose levels. So whatever it does to get glucose out of your blood and into cells doing other jobs like giving energy, being put into storage, or being used to make other things like fat. So now we can move on to the other side of this coin, and that is glucagon. Now, I mentioned earlier that glucagon works in the opposite way to insulin. So if insulin wants to reduce blood sugar levels, then glucagon actually wants to increase blood sugar levels. Now, you may be thinking, why would we ever want to increase blood sugar levels? You just made an entire video explaining why high blood sugar levels are dangerous. And that is true. High blood sugar levels can lead to diabetes and all sorts of issues, but low blood sugar isn't good for you either. Your body has a sweet spot when it comes to blood sugar, and anything above or below that can lead to issues. And when your blood sugar is too low for too long, then you start to starve your brain of glucose, and that can lead to issues like feeling weak, dizzy, and lightheaded. And in more serious cases, you can get seizures or even a coma. Now, for that to happen, things have to be pretty bad. Symptoms can first start appearing if your blood glucose levels are below 4 millimoles per liter. Now, for reference, throughout the day, you want your blood sugar levels to be between 4 to 7.8, depending on when you eat and exercise. But you get the point. Low blood sugar, also a problem. So when they get too low, your pancreas, instead of sending out insulin, will send out glucagon. Glucagon then makes your body do a few things. It triggers the breakdown of glycogen. Now remember when I explained that glycogen is the storage form of glucose? Well, when blood sugar is low, we want to break down those storage forms and release the glucose units, which will travel to the blood and then increase your blood sugar levels. If you don't have enough glycogen lying around, that's okay, because glucagon will ask your liver to make its own glucose. And this is done through a process called gluconeogenesis, a very long word, but essentially your liver will use non-glucose sources like amino acids and make its own glucose. And finally, glucagon also leads to ketones being made. Now ketones will get their own video because they are a large topic, but basically they are the alternative fuel source for your body when you don't have enough glucose. This is why ketogenic diets are very low carb, because in that case you are purposefully reducing your glucose so that you start making ketones. But there you have it. Glucagon increases your blood sugar levels by either getting glucose from storage, getting the liver to make glucose, or starting the production of ketones instead. And all of this is to make sure you have enough energy, because energy is life. So it's all a very delicate balancing act, and it's a cycle that happens each time you eat or fast or exercise, and it's all happening behind the scenes without you realizing it. Things like the food you eat, the exercise you do, stress and hormone changes, they all affect your blood sugar levels throughout the day. And insulin and glucagon will make sure to bring things back to normal. So hopefully now I filled in the gaps about how blood sugar is balanced, and this will be helpful knowledge because next week we talk about carbohydrates and how they affect blood sugar levels. So subscribe to make sure you don't miss that one. Thanks for watching if you made it this far. And as usual, please give a like if you learned anything in today's video. And if you have any questions or need anything explained further, then leave a comment and I'll do my best to answer. I'll see you next week, and until next time, keep playing the long game.